Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. It's time to delve back into the world of Canister Damascus, where we make a thing in a can, and that includes powdered steel and lots of other things. But what I want to try to do today is make a pattern inside this can with powdered steel and some other components, and then chop it up into pieces and weld those into a blade so we have that repeating pattern on that blade. I think that'd be really cool. So let's see what we can do. Now, I already assembled my canister most of the way. Got a cap welded on the end here. This is about 4.5 inches, and I got a cap here. I'm trying some knockoff whiteout. It's called correction fluid. It just doesn't dry. It just flakes off. So that's not going to work. I'm going to have to put some stainless steel foil in there again. Bummer. Anyway, while that's drying to not really work, let's work on the pattern that we're going to create inside this thing. Alright, so this is a concept of what I want to do here, and this in here is actually mild steel, or it's going to be mild steel, round stock and square stock here. And this is going to be in the center of our canister. Now when we chop this up into pieces, we're going to actually be cutting it at an angle so that we have about a 30-degree angle on these surfaces here, and then we'll lay them out in a tile-like formation and weld them. So this is all going to be, in the middle of that assembly, and so this mild steel, if we do this right, should not be anywhere near our edge, and it's not going to be a problem. The rest of this around here is going to be 1095 powdered steel, and these are 15N20, so that we get that pattern because of the nickel content in the steel, but they're actually, if they happen to be in the edge of the blade, it'll still be a decent edge. Alright, we've got our pieces for the center of this pattern all cleaned off down to clean steel, so they'll weld. And we need to assemble this now and tack it all together so it doesn't fall apart on us. Okay, so this probably would be better with a 2.5 or 3-inch can, width-wise, but I only have 2-inch. I think that'll still be enough space around this center pattern piece to give us, room to make an edge for the knife. So I'm not worried about it. I do have this oriented different than in the drawing, as you can see. I think it'll work better. I'll go ahead and put my pieces of 15 and 20 here, and that'll hold us against the walls of the can and keep everything nice and centered while we fill it up with powdered steel. So we got to make those 15 and 20 pieces next. So I need 4 pieces that are 11/16 inch by 4 inches, because inside of this is 1 3/4. We have 3/8 square that it's going to be running up against. So that's the math. Okay, let's see if this works. Oops, I forgot the little 15 and 20 wings are coming off the corners of the 3/8 square, not the sides, so my math was not right. Well, at least we can just grind them down and they'll fit, so let me make 2 more here. Okay, so I tried setting this whole thing up in the can, like, balancing everything, but it just wants to flop around and stuff. I could probably get it to stay, but to make life easier, I'm just going to tack these at each end, or at least one end, and then I'll put the whole thing in there and we'll put powder in it. Kind of crumpled the sides of my foil in, but or the corners of my foil in, but I think I have enough slack in there to push them out. Okay, I got everything in there situated as well as I can, I think. Make sure that steel is out of our way so we get as much of the volume of our powdered steel in there as possible. And we'll start adding some 1095 high carbon powdered steel. Alright, let's throw this in the forge and see what happens. Alright, there it is. Hopefully a nice solid billet in there. I did not forge it any more than I felt like I absolutely needed to. I only did 2 welding passes, quote unquote. So we're trying to maintain as much of that width as possible. So we'll let it cool down and peel that can off. Alright, so it looks like we got a nice solid piece of steel. You can see here where I ground into the corner a little bit. It looks like normal steel, so I think it turned out pretty good. I'm going to let this cool down a little bit and grind things clean a little bit, and then we're going to chop it up into sections and try to forge weld this into a blade. Alright, we got this cleaned up a little bit, and our Stainless steel foil kind of gave us some problems. Didn't have that completely smooth, obviously, so that's not ideal. And then as I'm grinding, I'm seeing water kind of seep out of different places, as if there's cracks or even porosity that I can't see, so that's kind of freaking me out a little bit. But anyway, what I need to do now is slice this up into some pieces here, and I need to choose carefully how to do that, because I need those ends that are gonna lap into each other to be the most clean and the best suited for welding together. So I think that's going to be this side and this side. Yeah, so that means we're going to draw angles on this side. Okay, so we have this hacked up into 4 pieces, kind of messy cut job there, but these are plenty thick to clean it up, obviously, grind that down so that they're the same thickness and clean. Looks good for the most part. Towards the end here, I think this one right here, I've got a little void right there, but that's it that I see, so we should be good to go. Okay, there's our tiles. They're all cleaned up and really close to the same thickness. And I cleaned up those angles where they butt up against each other. So now we need to enclose that entire assembly in some mild steel casing, and then we can forge weld it together. Alright, we've got this completely enclosed, and yes, I could have just welded the pieces together, you know, with a bead around the whole joint, but the reason I did it this way is it's going to be less invasive on our final piece. Like, we're not going to have to grind out welding beads on most of it, and also this steel here is going to help hold the heat for the forge weld, which is a good thing. You know, I think I want to forge weld this a little hotter than I typically do, just because those angled pieces, I want to give that every advantage I can. So I'm actually going to go ahead and fire up the big forge, and that'll also allow us to forge weld the entire length without having to move it around to the hot spot. So it's already in the small forge, we'll just heat up the big forge, transfer it, and then get it nice and hot and squish it. right, there it is. Well, hopefully that worked. Hopefully we have a nice solid piece of steel. I've never done this before, so it's kind of a learning experience for me too. I will have to grind off the mild steel. I could have stuck some stainless steel foil in between there, and I didn't bother with it, but we'll just wait till this cools down and then start grinding into it. Okay, here's the fruit of our labors, and you can see there's a couple spots where I kind of had to grind a little deeper to get out some minor inclusions, or just where the corners didn't quite weld together on here. But other than that, it's a good solid piece of steel from what I can see. All right, what do you think? Did it work? We shall soon see. All right, let's check it out. Well, we have a pattern. Yeah, we have a pattern. It's funny how the 15 and 20 is showing up dark though, but I guess really we have to have this polished up nicely to actually get the kind of pattern we're looking for. But the you can definitely see the mild steel in here, and that's going to show up as a white color in the finished pattern. And then the 15 and 20 is going to be a brighter color, and the rest of this will be dark. Now in the final analysis, when we actually etch it and sand it, because these areas of 1095 are so big, they're gonna be kind of bright, a little more bright if we clean them up with the sandpaper. Hey guys, thanks for coming along on this forging bladesmithing adventure. I'm really happy with the results overall. This is a fairly simple pattern, but this is the first successful Mosaic pattern welded steel or Damascus that I've made, and this is the first time I've tried all steel Mosaic in a can with the powdered steel and that kind of thing, so I think there's some interesting potential with that technique as well. Anyway, can't wait to make this into a blade, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and we will see you on the next video.